My twin sister Emma began to steal my life. She emulated my haircut, my laugh, my love. She wore my wedding dress on my wedding day and promised to steal my future. But one error unraveled her scheme. This is a tale of betrayal, bravery, and reclaiming what's yours. When I made the announcement of my engagement to James at Sunday dinner, Emma burst into tears. She'd just been dumped again, her fifth man that year. He said I was too intense, she reported, looking at my ring. Her tears looked genuine, but her gaze held too long. She watched me afterwards constantly. Not stalkerish initially, as if observing me. She replicated the way I moved when I communicated. She dressed in my same outfits, same blouse, same jeans. James overheard her inquiring about our relationship. She's just inquisitive, he said, smiling. Seemed nice back then. But everything changed after the Mark incident. Emma was over the moon when Mark expressed interest. Everything seemed to go so well on the first date. Until she lashed out at the waitress for not having a straw. She misinterpreted the waitress flirting with Mark. It ended at that. I reassured her that she'd do better. Then, at my office party, she caught Mark flirting with me. I cut it off quick, but Emma's eyes blazed. She saw everything. Her transformation began small. She got my same haircut, same layers, same color. She inquired about my skincare regimen. I wish I could look as polished as you, she said. I felt selfish for feeling uncomfortable. Then I saw her mimicking my smile in the bathroom mirror. I stood paralyzed, watching her face contort into mine. A minute went by before she saw me. Things escalated. At 2 a.m., I heard my laugh coming from her room. She taped my phone calls illegally. I told myself I was hallucinating. It worked for a while. Until I used her laptop to borrow for a work spreadsheet. Her files contained dozens of spreadsheets on me and James. Color-coded. Pet names in blue, jokes in green, intimate moments in red. My stomach sank. I took our parents, Clara and Henry, hoping they'd see. Emma cried on cue. Why is Sarah making me lose my mind? They warned me to stop being a bridezilla. I stood speechless, wondering how my twin could deceive them. I did not want Emma at my wedding. Her tantrums were the stuff of legend. Freaking out at our cousin's wedding, everyone loves me but not. Throwing a fit at Dad's birthday because she wasn't getting enough attention. But Clara insisted, she's your twin. She's in therapy doing better. I relented. Emma wielded that invitation like a sword. She appeared at my workplace, impersonating me. Informed my colleagues I had family emergencies. Knew all projects, deadlines, office gossip. I knew she was crazy, but I never thought she'd go for James. He texted me one day. Loved running into you today. My heart skipped a beat. I hadn't seen him. Emma had gone to his office, pretending to be me. He'd kissed her hello. I tried to tell him, but he thought I was stressed out. Babe, you ate half my sandwich, he said, concerned. Are you okay? I showed the texts to Clara. She looked worried, offered to have Emma tested. 6 months passed before my wedding day came. Emma had not called since the James episode. She arrived early, bearing strawberries and champagne. Her enthusiasm hummed, jarring, hurting my teeth. My hands trembled with anxiety. So did hers. She demanded we toast, pouring more into my glass. Hydration is the secret to photos, she explained. The room spun after the third glass. Emma supported me, pretended concern in her gaze. So you're white. The room spun yet faster. Through blurry vision, I saw her pull my wedding dress from her bag. What are you doing? My tongue felt heavy. Becoming you, she said calmly, like it was nothing. I've practiced everything. She leaned close. I know James's favorite positions, how he likes his eggs, that birthmark on his thigh. Blacked out. I woke on the bathroom floor, cheek against cold tile. The room swayed as I lifted my head. My wedding dress was draped over the door, but Emma was absent. I crept to the handle, locked from the outside. Laughter boomed from the suite. Clara's giggle, James's voice. Emma adopting my tone to perfection. Glass clinked against champagne. I pulled myself to the toilet, made my fingers push down my throat. Only bile rose up. The drugs had coursed through my veins. I splashed water on my face, gargled from the faucet in order to thin it out. The bathroom window was painted shut. I grabbed nail scissors from my makeup kit, scraping the seal. My hands trembled. Time dissolved in drugged fog. Footsteps approached. I fell to the floor, eyes closed. The lock clicked open. Emma came in wearing my dress. It fitted her to perfection. We were twins. Her makeup echoed mine, even my beauty mark. She felt for my pulse, my engagement ring sparkling. "The photographer wants pictures," she said nonchalantly. I said I told them you'd had a breakdown, locked yourself in here. She pulled me to the bathtub, my body lax. Cold shower water jolted me awake. "Can't have you making noise," she said, and cranked it to a trickle. "I want you to see everything." She shut the door a second time. Water fell on my face. I struggled to remain awake. Emma's laughter, my laughter, came from the suite. She was fine-tuning her act. Linda was not talking on the phone. Margaret attempted to keep speaking. "How's Thomas doing? How's school?" "He flunked a second math test," Linda reported, voice tired. "He's doing his best, but it's difficult." Margaret struggled to find words. How could she reconcile Eleanor's compliment of Emma and reprimand of Thomas? "Is there something you can do for me?" "I'm okay," Linda spat. "I don't want your sympathy." The phone call ended. Margaret glared at the cookies on the shelf. She couldn't discard them. She put them in a container, concealing it in the refrigerator. The following day, in her real estate office, Margaret received a call. Eleanor's voice on the line. "Maggie, did you hear? Thomas flunked another math test." Her tone was smug. Margaret clenched her jaw. "Mother, end this chatter." "I'm just reporting facts," Eleanor said. "Unlike your Emma, that boy." "Enough," Margaret interrupted, voice cutting. "Stop making comparisons. They're children." Eleanor sounded dumbfounded. "You're too sensitive," she said. "I have a client," Margaret said. "Talk later." She hung up, leaning over her desk. Memories came flooding back. Linda displaying a drawing to Eleanor as a child. "That's nice, but Margaret did colors better," Eleanor said. Linda's piano recital. "You aired." Margaret's was flawless. Margaret had accepted it, even mocked Linda. "Don't be envious," she'd said as a teenager, holding up her college acceptance. Linda's pained eyes taunted her. Now it was Emma and Thomas, complimented versus critiqued. Margaret recognized she needed to address this family pattern. Driving home, she pulled into the supermarket on the corner of Linda's apartment building. Linda was not at her checkout. Thomas worked there, bagging groceries after school. Thin and tall, he seemed older than 13. His weary face shattered Margaret's heart. She observed from afar, unseen. 3 days passed, and Margaret sorted contracts at home. Autumn rain pattered outside. Emma's piano lessons filled the living room. Margaret's phone rang, Linda's name. Unusual for her to call. "Hello, Linda." Her sister's voice sounded strangely chipper. "Maggie, a question. Did anyone have the cookies?" Margaret looked over at her desk drawer. She'd snapped a photo of the cookies earlier that morning. Their irregular shape and strange color irked her. "The cookies." Margaret tried to sound nonchalant. "Did Emma like them?" Linda's voice constricted. Margaret got up, going to the window. "Actually, Thomas dropped by and gobbled them all up," she lied. Silence on the line. Then Linda screamed, "Thomas? What has he done?" Her fear was raw. Margaret focused on the rain, unruffled. "He swung by after school, starving," she said. "I gave him your cookies." "How many?" Linda's voice shook. "All of them," Margaret said. "He loved them." "What's wrong?" Linda dropped something, breathing hard. "Is everything okay?" "It's nothing," Linda stammered. "I need to talk to Thomas about wandering off." Margaret's suspicion hardened. Something was in those cookies. Meant for Emma. He seemed strange after Margaret pressed. Said his stomach felt weird. Linda gasped. "Oh my God, I'm coming over." The call ended. Margaret stared at her phone, heart pounding. Her lie had exposed Linda's plan. She rushed to the living room. Emma played Chopin's Nocturne. "Emma, we need to talk." Emma stopped, turning around. "What's the matter, Mom?" "Aunt Linda is coming over. There is something wrong with Thomas." Emma looked shocked. "Thomas hasn't been in school. I was told he had a cold." Margaret looked at her daughter's angelic face. Emma and Thomas hardly talked, though they were cousins. "When Linda comes, let us speak alone," Margaret said. "Go work upstairs on your homework." Emma nodded, perplexed but obedient. "Is Thomas all right?" "I don't know," Margaret said. "That's why we're talking." Emma went upstairs. Margaret took the cookie container from the fridge. 6 cookies untouched. She set them on the dining table and waited. Rain pounded the windows. Memories of Linda surfaced, playing as kids, swapping clothes, laughing. Then the rift, Linda's pain when Eleanor praised Margaret. The doorbell rang. Linda stood there, soaked, face pale, eyes wide. "Where's Thomas? Is he okay? We need a hospital." "Calm down," Margaret said softly. "Thomas isn't here." Linda froze, confused. "What? You said." "I lied," Margaret said. "No one touched your cookies." Linda's face changed, relief, anger, shame. Tears flowed out. "How could you?" "Go to the dining room," Margaret said, grasping her arm. The cookies remained on the table, untouched. Linda sat down in a chair, hands over her face. Her shoulders trembled. "What are in these cookies, Linda?" Rain filled the silence. Linda raised her head, red eyes. "What was I trying to do?" Her voice was reedy, fragmented. "Tell me," Margaret prompted softly. "Laxatives," Linda whispered. "Strong ones, not harmful." Just in time for Emma to miss her swim meet. She cried, "I'm so sorry. What was I thinking?" Margaret put her hand on her sister's shaking shoulder. Anger should have overwhelmed her. Linda sought to hurt Emma. But sorrow overcame her instead. "Why, Linda?" Linda looked at her, pain naked. "Eleanor praises Emma, tears Thomas down. Just like us, always you, never me. Emma's victories and Thomas's defeats. I wanted her to fail just once. I wasn't thinking clearly." Margaret sat shocked. Linda's years of hurt had exploded this way. "I'm partly to blame," Margaret said. "I ignored Eleanor's favoritism. Thought it was normal even for Thomas." The sisters faced their buried truth. The cookies sat between them, untouched. Linda's sobs quieted. "I'll make tea," Margaret said, standing. She boiled water, set out mugs. Anger, sadness, and empathy tangled inside her. How could she forgive Linda's betrayal? Bridesmaids whispered, pointing out Emma's odd behaviors they'd ignored. James squeezed Sarah's hand, grounding her. Truth spread across the ballroom like fire. Emma's gesture was good, but not perfect. Cracks were evident now. Her bouquet hold, her stumbling vows. Security moved on Emma, uncertain. This was no ordinary wedding crash. Lisa, the coordinator, called hotel management, voice low. Agnes, their grandmother, crossed herself, reciting Italian prayers. Emma made one last desperate attempt. She ripped off the veil, hurling it at Sarah. "You stole my life. You took everything." She shouted, words crazy and nonsensical to guests. Sarah knew. Emma viewed happiness as theft. Her affection for James as debt. Clara went to Emma, slow, warily. Her tone was gentle, calming a child's tantrum. "Emma, it's all right," she whispered. But Emma stormed on. Unfairness, always in second place, worthy of love. The wedding dress, Sarah's dress, tore as Emma struggled. The rending fabric rang out last. The dream wedding was destroyed. James grasped Sarah, protecting her. She couldn't help but watch. This was her twin, her mirror, but never her heart. Security stepped in, gentle but firm. They escorted Emma out, her screams echoing. "I'm the real bride." Clara followed, tears streaming. Henry's face was grim, jaw tight. Guests lingered, unsure, whispering. James's mother checked on Sarah, eyes soft with worry. Agnes patted her hand, muttering about evil eyes. Lisa approached, asking if they'd continue the ceremony. Sarah looked at the chaos. Tipped chairs, scattered petals. The unity candle lay on the floor, unlit. This wasn't her dream day. But James was here, seeing her, choosing her. We'll postpone, Sarah said. Not cancel, just postpone. We need time. Lisa nodded, relieved, and began clearing guests. Sarah and James slipped through the service corridor. They avoided the lobby where Emma might still be. The hotel garden glowed with sunset. Pink, gold, serene. They'd considered it for the ceremony once. Sarah broke down, drugs and betrayal hitting hard. James held her steady, real. Her tears soaked his wrinkled suit. Once she was calm, they sat upon a stone bench. Stars flinched above. Tell me about our first date, James said. Sarah smiled, remembering each detail. The fire alarm, breadsticks in the parking lot, their laughter. Moments Emma couldn't pilfer. James nodded at the pieces only they knew. He'd sensed something amiss when Emma walked down the aisle. Her kiss, her vows, wrong, not Sarah. The unity candle sealed it. Agnes had made him vow the Italian phrase. Emma's failure shattered her act. Hotel employees returned Sarah's phone, concealed by Emma. Messages poured in. Family, friends, vendors. Sarah switched it off. Tomorrow she'd deal with the chaos. Tonight she needed James. They had room service served in the honeymoon suite. Sarah in housekeeping attire, James in suit. Not the dinner arranged, but genuine. James played their first dance track on the hotel speaker. They danced in the suite, Sarah's head on his shoulder. This was what Emma couldn't handle, their quiet connection. Emma would probably be in a hospital today. Clara and Henry making sure she received treatment. Her fixation wasn't jealousy. It was deeper, shattered. Sarah felt sorry for her, even with the betrayal. Emma loved so much she attempted to steal it. Love wasn't a disguise, though. It was constructed, earned, authentic. The song finished, but they continued to sway. Outside, people chatted about the cancelled wedding. The next day had questions, legal proceedings, rearranging. Tonight, however, Sarah had James. He whispered to her, I love you, the real you. She believed him. Morning dawned with harsh sunlight streaming through the curtains. Sarah's head pounded from Emma's drugs. James was on the telephone, fielding cancellations. His suit was rumpled, tie loose. The hotel manager came with security tapes. They required statements regarding the drugging. Sarah issued police reports. Keep it in the family, she said. The manager consented, barring Emma from the hotel. Sarah's phone indicated more than 100 messages. Family wanted explanations. Friends called to check in. Vendors sent confirmation of refunds. She scrolled numbly. James haggled with the florist to give the roses away. Clara came at noon, eyes red. Emma was in a psychiatric unit, she said. Voluntary admission following her breakdown. Doctors spoke of delusional disorder, personality problems. Clara apologized, voice cracking. I should have seen it, protected you. Sarah allowed her to speak, packing out the suite. The ripped wedding dress hung in its bag. Clara touched it, then assisted in folding bridesmaid gifts. They toiled in silence, taking apart the stolen day. James's family assisted in cleanup. Agnes pressed charms into Sarah's palms, praying. His mother organized to have reception food donated. All moved silently, converting chaos into work. Pre-ceremony pictures were sent by the photographer. Emma radiated, nearly Sarah. But her shoulders, her chin, tells. James erased them silently. They spent the afternoon in the business center. Guest emails, gift returns, flight cancellations. Each action nibbled away at the dream. James checked with an attorney. No wedding took place. Henry showed up for dinner, weary. Emma was sedated, stable, being watched. Physicians mapped out medication. He inquired whether Sarah would come. Not yet, she replied. Perhaps never. The wedding party gathered at the hotel dining room. Bridesmaids embraced Sarah, confessing they'd observed Emma's peculiarities. Groomsmen made strained jokes. All grappled with the bizarre crisis. Sarah and James departed early, strolling the garden. The wedding arch remained, roses drooping. They stood under it, hand in hand. No promises, only them taking back the space. In the house again, eating Chinese takeout in robes. They penned a note. Family crisis, wedding rescheduled. No explanation, no theatrics. The hospital phoned at midnight. Emma requested Sarah awake now. Sarah refused. James cradled her as she wept from fatigue. The following day they searched their apartment. Emma had visited. Mugs out of place, shoes realigned. They relocked, wiped her tracks clean. Sarah's employer granted her time off. Hearing rumors but inquiring little. James's co-workers sent a fruit basket, no questions. They munched pears, tidying their home. Clara and Henry brought news. Emma confessed spying on Sarah for months. Mannerisms, videos, all. Her fixation shocked them. Sarah declined charges. Emma required treatment, not jail. Clara wept with relief. Henry appeared worn, torn between daughters. Vendors understood about cancellations. Some deposits were forfeited, others refunded. Lisa gave a discount to reschedule. James thanked her, no guarantees. Friends held a low-key game night. Pizza, board games, no wedding discussion. Sarah laughed at a friend's charades. Her initial genuine laugh. They began counseling, sorting out the trauma. The therapist discussed twin dynamics, identity blurs. Emma's preoccupation developed from childhood comparisons. Sarah mourned her sister, not only the wedding. 3 weeks later, James asked again. Over coffee, quiet, uncomplicated. City Hall, yard, anywhere, he said. Just you. Sarah agreed, sobbing into cereal. They shared with only their parents. Clara insisted on planning, but Sarah preferred simple. Henry squeezed her hand, comprehending. Emma's letter arrived a month later, shaky letters. She spoke of being invisible, less than Sarah. The therapist labeled it early-stage empathy. Sarah pushed it aside, unwilling to respond. They wed at City Hall 6 weeks after that. Clara, Henry, James's parents witnessed. Sarah wore a sundress, clutched grocery store flowers. The officiant got their names mixed up, and they both laughed. 15 minutes, flawed, perfect. The reception was in James's parents' home. Agnes cooked for 50, although they were 10. They dined in the backyard, lights draped in trees. No photographs, no intention to steal. Sarah danced with James at sundown. Clara's picture. Sarah laughing, James with cake on his nose. It became their favorite. Evidence joy endured trauma. The marriage certificate hung over their bed. Real, legal, unstealable. Life established new rhythms. Work, home, therapy. Sarah and James drew together, speaking freely now. Emma remained in treatment, painting in art therapy. Sarah was not yet ready to view her work. The near wedding anniversary came and went quietly. Pancakes, terrible movies, nothing out of the ordinary. The day lost its bite. Clara mentioned Emma could go into outpatient treatment. The news hung on Sarah. She'd created a life without Emma, with boundaries set. Her return threatened it all. Sarah and James talked of relocating. 2 hours away, close but cheap. Their new apartment was smaller, lighter. No hint of Emma. They painted walls with hues she'd never known. A space well their own. Neighbors knew them as a young couple, no history. Anonymity was liberating. Sarah began running, dissipating anxiety. James tagged along at times, synchronized breathing. Emma's second letter came, forwarded. Briefer, written specifically about Sarah's pain. Improvement, but Sarah kept it stored away. Clara rang, laughing happy tears. Emma comprehended her transgression, wished to apologize one day. No urgency, only expectation. Sarah was hollow, not rageful. Her journey and Emma's had diverged. James brought tea, a blanket, onto their new balcony. He read her quiet, sat quietly. They saw the sunset, no mention of weddings or sisters. Just them, in a life constructed from debris. Not a fairy tale but true. Irreplaceable. Thanks for following along on Sarah's journey of bravery and taking back her life. If her bravery motivated you, click like and subscribe for more. What's your story of being a warrior? Comment below with your city and time. I'm reading from New York at 4:59 a.m., October 7, 2025. Where are you?